Welcome, crypto fam, to the #1 daily Bitcoin pod. Bitcoin is pumping. We're back above 67 G's, 70,000 in play. In today's show, I'll be breaking down the latest Bitcoin technical analysis. Also, breaking news, Joe Biden has officially announced dropping out of the presidential election. He has been replaced with Kamala Harris. We'll also be discussing Bitcoin large sellers are exhausted at 67,000. Price holds strong, as well as U.S. Bitcoin ETFs record 17 billion worth of net inflows. I'm also going to be sharing new zero energy storage tech can lead to immortal blockchains. That's right, immortal blockchains. We'll also be discussing Ethereum ETFs are coming with the official launch date in 2 days on the 23rd, which is this Tuesday. I'll be sharing everything you need to know. We'll also be discussing it's inevitable. According to Forbes, Bitcoin price suddenly soars on wild rumors that Donald Trump will create a U.S. Bitcoin strategic reserve, in which Max was the first to break that news. And Max just recently tweeted, "I doubt the U.S. has the brains to add Bitcoin to reserves. JealousDonald is no President Bukele. Bitcoin going to $5 million with or without the U.S. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this, plus so much more, in today's show. If you're new to the channel, very important to smash the likes and subscribe to the #1 daily Bitcoin pod. Also, be sure to repost this over on X. It's greatly appreciated, and I'll repost everyone who reposts the stream throughout the stream. And let's see if we can get 3,000 people on today's podcast. That's the goal. We had over 3,500 people last night on the Pump Watch, which was pretty lit. We streamed for 13 hours straight. My name is JV, in case you don't know. This is pod episode 1707, and today is July 21st, 2024. Big breaking news. Biden has officially dropped out, so he's not going to be reelected. Kamala has taken his place. A lot is happening in the markets as well. Bitcoin's pumping. So let's dive right into our market watch as we do each and every day. As you can see on your screen, a lot of the market correcting. Bitcoin barely in the red, but maintaining above 67.3. Let's see if we can recapture 70 G's here soon. We have Ether sitting just under 3,500. AVAX is the top gainer on the day. And we also have Solana in the green, while XRP, Cardano, and Tron are all correcting and in the red. And checking out coinmarketcap.com, the current market cap sits at $2.45 trillion. The Bitcoin market cap is at $1.3 trillion. There's roughly 59 billion worth of volume for the past 24 hours, and the Bitcoin dominance maintains at 54.3%, with the Ether dominance back on the decline at 17.1%. And as you know, ETH ETF gets the green light this Tuesday. In 2 days, we'll be covering that story here shortly, what you need to know about the launch. We'll also, let's check out the top 100 crypto gainers in the past 24 hours. We have Avalanche, we have Core, we have Radium, we have Helium, we have Solana, we have Mogcoin, and Chainlink. Which alts, fam, if any, are you most bullish on for this particular bull? Holla at your boy. And checking out the crypto bubbles, you can see, I'd say, 70% of the market in the red, but a handful in the green. AVAX doing its thing, Core doing its thing, along with HNT. But zooming out on the monthly to get a broader perspective, 90% of the market in the green, maybe 80 to 90%. We got this Pop Cat up 300%, must be a meme coin. We got Bonk up 52%. We got Mog up 183%. So meme coins continue to do their thing, and even XRP is up 20% on the month. And checking out the crypto greed and fear index, we're currently rated as 74 in greed. Yesterday 74, last week at 33, and last month at 63 in greed. So there you have it. My crypto fam, where do you feel the Bitcoin price action will likely take us for this month of July? We got another 10 days left. Let me know. When Lambo? It's a great question. When Rari? Diamond hands and laser eyes. What's the second best? There is no second best. This crypto asset called Bitcoin, right? When you have the superior asset, it's going up forever, Melda. It's going up forever. But anyways, Joe, let's dive into today's Bitcoin technical analysis. We're also going to pull up some of the live charts. It looks like 68 incoming. Make some noise for that. So yeah, Bitcoin price explosive move puts old 69,000 all-time high in sight. Can you say 69 G's, baby? 69 G's. Here you're looking at the one-day chart. Bitcoin circles 67 into the July 21st weekly close as an extremely explosive move. Set the stage for 10% gains, and we're very close to 68,000 at the time of this live stream. Trading View showed the Bitcoin price action spiking to new July highs over the weekend, and Bitcoin held on to its recovery in out-of-hours trading, equaling 10.4% week to date and 6.6% for July. Not too shabby. And unsurprisingly, market participants showed no shortage of optimism as a result. For example, trader Benjamin Cohen hoped that the 20-week simple moving average, which is at 65.6, would function as support going forward, and we blew past it. Quoting him here, extremely explosive move by the biddy off the lower trend line back above the BMSB. Let's see if Bitcoin can hold above the 20-week simple moving average. Let me know if you think it will. Cohen referred to the Bitcoin bull market support band, an area of interest between the 20-week simple moving average and the 21-week exponential moving average. And as reported, Bitcoin traded above the band for the majority of the latest bull market. We also have analysts Red Capital who focus on the relative significance of Bitcoin's correction since March's new all-time high. That's right. The current all-time high is still 73.8, which we tapped back in mid-March. On the monthly time frames, he continued, Bitcoin had successfully retested its old 2021 all-time high as support in part of an ongoing resistance support flip, quoting the analyst here. Phenomenal results of the old-time resistance in the red as new support in the green. Alongside the chart, Bitcoin has been successfully retesting this vital region as new support for 5 consecutive months. That's right. And in further evidence of the extent of the crypto recovery, sentiment reached its greediest in over a month, as I already shared with you on the Crypto Greed and Fear Index. Today, we are rated a 74, which I believe is like one level below the extreme greed. And not too long ago, we measured a 25 in extreme fear. And typically when that happens, we have a nice pump. And lo and behold, we started pumping off the back of that. Now, in breaking news, Biden has officially dropped out. So before I dive into the live charts, I'm just going to read you the official bulletin from Joe Biden's X account. This is the official account. Here's what he wrote. July 21st, 2024, my fellow Americans, over the past 3.5 years, we have made great progress as a nation. Today, America has the strongest economy in the world. We've made historic investments in rebuilding our nation and lowering prescription drug costs for seniors, expanding affordable health care to a record number of Americans. We provided critically needed care to 1 million veterans exposed to toxic substances, passed the first gun safety law in 30 years, appointed the first African-American woman to the Supreme Court, and passed the most significant climate legislation in the history of the world. America has never been positioned to lead than we are today. I know none of this could have been done without you, the American people. Together, we overcame a once-in-a-century pandemic, aka plandemic, and the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. We have protected and preserved our democracy, and we have revitalized and strengthened our alliances around the world. It has been the greatest honor of my life to serve as your president, and while it has been my intention to seek re-election, I believe it's in the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down and to focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term. I will speak to the nation later this week in more detail about my decision. For now, let me express my deepest gratitude to all those who have worked so hard to see me reelected. I want to thank Vice President Kamala Harris for being an extraordinary partner in all of this work. And let me express my heartfelt appreciation to the American people for the faith and trust you have placed in me. I believe today what I have always have, that there is nothing America can't do when we do it together. We just have to remember we are the United States of America. Now, apparently, Harris has been the one that was chosen to be running for president. So this is a very interesting scenario. Clearly, we've never had a woman president in the United States of America. And what do you think about Trump now running against Kamala versus Sleepy Poopy Pants Joe? Let me know your thoughts. And with that being shared, let's pull up some of the live charts, shall we? Here's the 10-minute chart. Let me switch the scene now so you can see it nice and clearly. Here you can see 68 G's. Make some noise for that. Repost this, family. We just hit 68 G's. Let's go. 70K incoming. But first, can we get a 69? So yeah, all the charts looking lit right now. This is the 10-minute chart. We do have some targets on the screen as well. We're going to zoom our way out. And let's zoom out to the 1 hour chart. Looking very bullish as well. We have a rising wedge formation, 3 big green candles on the hour chart as we continue ascending as far as the price action. This is brought to you by TradingView via Coinbase. This is live chartage, live and in the flesh. Here's the 4-hour chart looking bullish as a mofo. We have a rising wedge formation here as well with a target. It looks like probably hard to see it's cut off there, but it's probably 69, 70,000 range. Next major psychological resistance is going to be 70 Gs. So let's go. And that's the 4-hour. You notice 1, 2, 3, 4 consecutive green candles means we had 16 hours of bullishness. Weekend pumpy pump, you already know. And last week we had a weekend pumpy pump off the back of the failed assassination attempt on Trump. Now checking out the 1-day chart again, live and in the flesh. You can see we got 1, 2, 3 consecutive green daily candles after we had the red corrective candle. Prior to that, we had a bunch of greens, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pretty impressive as well as we have been a pumping. Let's zoom out a little further. They say when in doubt, zoom out. Here's the 1 week. 1 week chart looking pretty bullish as well. A big fat cup and handle target with a bullish flag sitting at $126,000, which would take us virtually 2x from here, right? 70 and 70, I believe, is 140. So it takes us around that ballpark. But you can see the bullish flag formation. The charts across the board looking bullish as a mofo. We're also going to check the 1 month chart, as you can see here. And we did have 7 green consecutive candles. Then we had a corrective red, green, red, and it looks like we're about to print another green candle for the month of July, as we haven't hit this price level in quite some time, as we continue ascending above and beyond 68 Gs, baby. So you already know, family. There you have it. Let me know your thoughts on some of the chartage I just shared with you and where you feel the Bitcoin price action will likely take us next. So yeah, this next headline reads, Bitcoin large sellers are exhausted as 67,000 hold strong, and we just retook 78 or 68. So yeah, quoting Crypto Quant, Bitcoin large sellers are exhausted and valuation metrics suggest positive momentum, referring to Bitcoin investors holding a balance of 1,000 and 10,000 BTC. Now, Moreno added that the realized profits are minimal compared to the March or May when Bitcoin exceeded 71,000 in both months. Bitcoin reached its all-time high on March 13th at 73.7-ish. Not too shabby, right? And once we capture that, we'll be right back in price discovery. That's when things get pretty exciting. And while traders are keeping a close watch on whether it holds above the long-monitored critical support of 65,000, there is also speculation over whether it will be able to reach 69 Gs, baby. Of course we're going to reach 69. Just FYI, we're less than 1,000 away. Quoting Milky Bull Crypto, Bitcoin's next point to complete the weekly megaphone price pattern is 69,000.
We've come so far, we've seen it all. Bitcoin will not fall. 69K, it's a celebration. Bitcoin love sweeping the nations.
69 Gs, baby. He also says the megaphone price pattern target is within 84 to 88,000. The move to 69 Gs would erase 262 million in short positions. Have fun staying poor, shorters. Bitcoin hasn't reached 67,000 level since June 12th, and traders are noting other bullish indicators that suggest the uptrend may continue, and which is continuing. Lo and behold, the weekly Bollinger Bands are at the same lowest levels ever recorded, according to host of The Young in Investing, who wrote, which is a tool that measures the momentum and volatility of an asset within a certain range. Good to see the Bitcoin price has returned back to the short-term hodler realized price, said Philip Swift, which is an important indicator for the traders as it is the aggregate cost basis of more speculative Bitcoin hodlers. Wallets storing Bitcoin for 155 days or less. This follows a turbulent month for Bitcoin, during which its price sharply dropped below 60 Gs, tapping a bottom of the 53,000 range on July 5th before staging its recovery. And quoting the On-Chain College, Bitcoin breaking above a key level, indicating strong momentum in a nice area of support at 64. This is after a period of Bitcoin moving from weak hands to the stronger hands. That's right. Where my diamond hands and laser eyes at. Next story of the day. Here's the latest with the ETF inflows surpassing $17 billion. That's right. Headline here reads, U.S. Bitcoin ETFs see record $17 billion worth of net inflows, fam. And they officially went live. That was back on January 11th. So it's just been over 6 months. In a landmark achievement, U.S. spot Bitcoin ETFs cumulatively netted over $17 billion worth of inflows, setting a new record. And according to data monitored by Farside, the net inflows was driven primarily by BlackRock's IBIT, which alone accumulated almost $19 billion. Fidelity's FBTZ also contributed significantly with net inflows of almost $10 billion. Now, conversely, Grayscale's GBTC experienced a substantial net outflow of $18.7 billion, highlighting a shifting preference amongst investors. And on July 17th, the 11 spot Bitcoin ETFs recorded a total daily net inflow of $53 million, marking the 9th consecutive day of positive inflows. However, this figure was notably lower than the $422 million net inflow seen on July 16th. Despite this, BlackRock's IBIT continued to lead, posting the most significant net inflows of the day at $110 million and achieving a trading volume of $1.2 billion, according to Farside data here on your screen. Now, Fidelity's FBTZ was the only other fund to report net inflows on July 17th, adding $2.83 million. In contrast, Grayscale's GBTC and Bitwise's BitB faced net outflows of $53 million and $6 million. 7 other funds, including ARK and 21 shares ARKB, reported zero flows on the day. The total trade volume for the U.S. spot Bitcoin funds on July 17th was $1.79 billion, a significant drop from the March peak when the daily volumes exceeded $8 billion. And before the current record high, these ETFs have amassed a total net inflow of $16.59 billion since their launch in January, reflecting steady investor interest despite fluctuations in daily inflows. Now for BlackRock's Bitcoin Bet, this record-setting inflow highlights the increasing acceptance and integration of Bitcoin into the mainstream investment portfolios. BlackRock's Bitcoin holdings have surged above $20 billion worth of biddies, driven by the firm's recent acquisition of 4,000 additional Bitcoin and a 3% increase of the Bitcoin price since the market closed on Monday. The fund initially surpassed $20 billion in assets under management in late May, coinciding with Bitcoin's rapid ascent towards 70 Gs, earning it the distinction of being the most prominent Bitcoin ETF globally. Bitcoin is now trading above 68,000 as we continue to pump during the live stream. But that's the latest with the ETF inflows, which have been crushing. That's some serious volume, breaking all records in ETF history. We also have the Ethereum ETFs going live in a couple of days, and we'll be covering that story here in a bit. But yeah, let's continue with the news. Here's a pretty interesting article. Headline reads, New zero energy storage tech can lead to immortal blockchains. Immortal. They live forever. Forever, Laura. Yeah, recent advances in long-term storage could form a basis for the development of immutable digital ledgers capable of storing data for millions of years without power. In other words, immortal blockchains. Now, I've never even heard of this term until today, so I found this intriguing. Check it. At its core, blockchain tech operates on the simple premise that data is demonstrably safer in a decentralized ledger than on a centralized server. Now, in the event of a local outage, such as the failure of a power grid, the ledger remains safe as long as there are nodes elsewhere still in operation. A centralized server can only store and serve data for as long as it is powered. Now, there is no real need to worry about the power going out, and for example, banking information getting lost. Modern computer systems typically run on battery backups, capable of ensuring data is kept for months or even years, if necessary. But much like the threat of quantum computing looming over modern encryption, there are conceivable future threats to both the centralized and centralized data storage systems. One such theoretical threat could be a global blackout. Even with robust battery backup systems, a natural disaster affecting the Earth's magnetic field or some form of externally induced electromagnetic pulse could conceivably cause the electronics on our planet to cease functioning. That may sound like a Hollywood fodder, but it is unlikely. Many governments have the contingency plans for secondary non-critical systems, such as the Bitcoin and Ethereum blockchains, in the event of the Earth's poles flipping or aliens zapping us with an EMP ray. Oh my God. This begs the question, what happens to the blockchains if the power goes out on every single node. If we imagine a scenario where the power comes back on and everything resumes normal operations, it stands to reason that the average blockchain will continue recording further transactions. But what if the power goes out forever? That's right. What if the power went out forever? Let's discuss these immortal blockchains. In the event that humans were to become extinct, for whatever reason, most of our data would die with us. Over a matter of centuries, brittle storage such as books and magnetic tapes would degrade to the point of meaninglessness. And after millennia, the bulk of our digital storage would likely be irretrievable. And if we can imagine the Earth spinning cold and alone, or not spinning, for millions of years before it rebooted and began seeding life again, or if aliens showed up, then only data held in extreme long-term storages solutions would still exist. But luckily for those future humans and or the ETs, we already have the tech to preserve data for extremely long periods of time. Two examples include DNA storage, which involves the creation of artificial fossils encoded with data, and ceramic nano memory, a method for storing data on glass that theoretically allows it to remain encoded forever without the possibility of ever degrading. While neither are specifically designed to function as components of the blockchain network, both have been used to store important data for posterity. Now, in this vein, it would make sense to put the Bitcoin white paper and other important documents, such as the Gilligan's Island client list, you know what I'm saying, and an artificial fossil and or ceramic nano memory shared. And at a bare minimum, this would give future beings a glimpse into our technology. However, it should also be possible to use zero energy storage to build a snapshot of a functioning blockchain. While the logistics of such an endeavor would be subject to the limitations of the medium, it should be feasible, theoretically, to encode instructions for the resurrection of the blockchain network as it existed on a specific date. So zero energy immortal blockchains. There you have it. Now, we all know Bitcoin's immutable, and as long as there's nodes, it doesn't matter if the power went down. As soon as the power came back, one node goes back online, the network is secure, your data is secure. What did we just witness the other day? There was a massive, I guess, power outage, something to do with Microsoft, in which we don't trust one iota because we don't trust Billy Gates. You feel me? But nonetheless, it didn't impact Bitcoin in any way whatsoever. Bitcoin's been pumping since the outage. So you already know, family. Anyways, family, appreciate everyone tuned in. Let's continue with the news. We discussed the zero energy immortal blockchains. Now let's discuss the Ether ETF, which did get the green light to be live on Tuesday, 2 days out, and how this will likely impact the market and what you need to know. And then we'll discuss Max Keiser's $5 million Bitcoin price prediction, as well as the controversy of Trump speaking at Nashville in a few days, just a few more days, and all that fun stuff. And then we'll dive into the live Q&A. So yeah, this headline reads, Ethereum ETF are coming, ETFs. Here's what you need to know. After years of regulatory pushback and countless amended registration filings, spot Ether ETFs are finally hitting the market for the first time. Shares of publicly traded Ether ETFs will be listed alongside the likes of Apple and SPDR, S&P 500, ETF Trust on some of the United States' most popular brokerage platforms. The anticipated listings are a defining moment for crypto markets and the opportunity for millions of U.S. institutional and retail investors. So here's what you need to know. First and foremost, when will the spot Ether ETFs be available? Well, on the CBOE, it's confirmed for July 23rd as the launch date for the 5 ETFs assigned to trade on its platform, including 21 Shares Core Ethereum ETF, Fidelity Ethereum Fund, Investico Galaxy Ethereum ETF, Van Eck Ethereum ETF, and Franklin Ethereum ETF. The 4 other ETH ETFs will trade on either the NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange. Despite no official announcements yet from those exchanges, they are widely expected to list on July 23rd as well, which is this Tuesday. Now, where can you buy Ethereum ETF shares? The short answer, virtually any major brokerage platform. Every spot Ether ETF set to list in the last week of July has already obtained regulatory sign-off to trade on at least one major U.S. exchange, specifically either the NASDAQ or the New York Stock Exchange or the CBOE. Everyday investors don't trade directly on those exchanges. Instead, they rely on the brokerage platforms, household names names such as Fidelity, Robinhood, E-Trade, Charles Schwab, and TD Ameritrade as intermediaries. Now, once ETH ETF shares are listed on the public exchanges, expect all of the big name brokerages and others to be able to facilitate the trades. Now, what are the best options and how do I know which is the best? Well, there is no second best. There's a crypto asset called Bitcoin, right? I digress. 9 spot Ether ETFs are set to begin trading, and in terms of underlying mechanics, the funds are virtually identical. Every ETF is sponsored by a reputable fund manager, holds spot Ether with a qualified custodian, most likely going to be Coinbase, just like with the Bitcoin ETFs, and relies on a core group of professional market makers to create and redeem the shares. They also benefit from the same standard investor protections, including insurance against brokerage failures and cybersecurity risks. For most investors, the deciding factor boils down to the fees. For 8 of the 9 ETFs, management fees range from 0.15% to 0.25%. The one big expectation is the Grayscale Ethereum Trust, which started trading under a different fund structure in 2017, still charging management fees of 2.5%, which is absolutely ridiculous in comparison to all the others. Now, when game theory is in effect and you have multiple major firms of competition, this should drive down the price, and I think they're going to have a different fund with a lower fee, but just like the Bitcoin ETF fee being the highest for GBTC, it's kind of ironic, but Grayscale loves those big fees, Joe. But anyways, most but not all of the Ethereum ETFs are temporarily waiving or discounting the fees in a bid to woo investors. They all want your biddies. Grayscale Ethereum Trust is again amongst the big outliers here, along with Invesco Galaxy Ethereum ETF. Now, ironically, the clear front runner in the fee race is also a Grayscale product, the new one. It's called the Grayscale Ethereum Mini Trust, a newer fund created specifically to list as an ETF, has management fees of only 0.15%. Those fees are waived entirely for the first 6 months after the listing or until the fund hits $2 billion in assets under management. Another compelling choice is Franklin Templeton's Franklin Ethereum ETF at 0.19% management fee, which is the second lowest out of the bunch, and they are fully waived through January 2025 or until the fund clears $10 billion worth of assets under management. Now, will the spot Ether ETFs offer staking? The short answer here is no. The long answer, maybe. As a refresher, staking involves depositing ETH to a validator node on the Ethereum beacon chain. Staked ETH earns a cut of the network fees and other rewards, but also risks slashing or forfeiting stake collateral if the validator misbehaves or fails. Staking is attractive because it significantly boosts the returns. Annual reward rates stand at around 3.7% as of July 19th, according to StakingRewards.com. And earlier in the year, several issuers, including Fidelity, BlackRock, and Franklin Templeton, sought regulatory sign-off to add staking to the spot Ether ETFs. However, the SEC denied those requests. They do not like staking, family. Now, the issue boils down to liquidity, according to several people involved in the talks who spoke with Cointelegraph on the condition. And staked ETH usually takes days to withdraw from the beacon chain, which is a problem for the issuers who are required to promptly redeem the ETF shares for underlying fund assets and requests. But there you have it. Crypto fam, let me know if you feel this Ethereum ETF launch, which will go live in 2 days, will be bullish for the market. Do you think it'll be a sell the news event like we had with Bitcoin, but over the long term brings in a lot of liquidity and a lot of new capital? Let me know your thoughts. Now for our featured story of the day. It's inevitable. Bitcoin price suddenly soars on wild rumors of Donald Trump creating a U.S. Bitcoin strategic reserve. And this is the headline from Forbes magazine. But keep in mind, who was the first to break this story? It was Max Keiser last week. I covered it in the pod several times. So I got to give Max credit for the inside information about making a big announcement over in Nashville, Tennessee at the big Bitcoin conference in a few days. There's going to be over 20,000 people. He may be making an announcement of adopting Bitcoin as a strategic reserve asset or for the U.S. Treasury. That's what we're going to be discussing. And now Forbes just published this article as well. So the rumors could be true. We're about to find out. There's going to be a big week, family. Now, Max also tweeted this morning, I doubt the U.S. has the brains to add Bitcoin to reserves. JealousDonald, there's no President Bukele. Bitcoin going to 5 million with or without the United States. Let me know if you agree or disagree. And let's dive into the Forbes article here, and I'll read this to you. So yeah, the Bitcoin price added almost 20% since its early July lows. Not too shabby, eh? So yeah, now after Trump revealed the JP Morgan Bitcoin bombshell, while rumors are swirling that Trump could announce he'd create a U.S. Bitcoin strategic reserve during the much hyped appearance at the Bitcoin 2024 conference in Nashville next week. Let me know, fam, how many of you are going to be there. This could be something that could trigger a Bitcoin price instant moon. Can you say Omega candle? 100 G's? Can you say God candle? 10 G's? Easy peasy. Allah candle, Buddha candle, Nipsey candle, JV candle, CNA candle, Trump candle, Keiser candle, Sailor candle, whatever you want to call it, family. There is speculation that Trump may announce the establishment of a U.S. Bitcoin strategic reserve during the Bitcoin 2024 conference, according to Marcus Thielen, the chief executive of institutional focused analysis company 10X Research, said in an email note to clients that highlighted the Bitcoin price rocketed almost 1,900% during Trump's first term. 1,900%. Not too shabby. Quoting him again, the U.S. could strategically incorporate Bitcoin into its reserves, diversifying its portfolio and reducing reliance on traditional assets like gold and foreign currencies, Thielen wrote, pointing out that around 212,000 Bitcoin that the U.S. government currently holds, worth around $15 billion, compared to its $600 billion worth of gold reserves. Donald Trump may already be thinking about adding Bitcoin to the U.S. balance sheet, according to Lark Davis, Bitcoin analyst. And earlier, Dennis Porter, I also covered this in yesterday's podcast, chief executive of the Satoshi Action Fund regulatory lobby group, posted on X that Trump will announce a USA Bitcoin strategic reserve in Nashville, citing unnamed anonymous sources. And he also put there, my sources are solid. Again, I covered this for you on yesterday's pod. People don't believe that the USA could implement a Bitcoin strategic reserve, but at this point, it is inevitable. And I agree. It's called game theory. If you don't adopt Bitcoin and all the other nations around the world do, you get left behind. Now, a strategic reserve such as the U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserve is a store of assets kept on hand and designed to either be deployed in emergencies or to guarantee debt. Now, getting more and more confirmations that these rumors may be true, according to Bitcoin OG Simon Dixon, founder of Bank to the Future investment platform. And in response, also, we had Ari Paul, I also covered yesterday, chief investment officer of crypto hedge fund Block Tower Capital, put the odds of the U.S. creating a Bitcoin strategic reserve in the next 4 years at 10-1, adding it's plausible to me that Trump might say it, which would also be bullish for Bitcoin medium time frame, and that if Wall Street actually believed it would happen, then instant moon. Now, what does an instant moon look like for you? Crypto News Alerts fam, let me know. Now, referring to the popular Bitcoin meme that the Bitcoin price is climbing rapidly, infinity and beyond. And this week, Trump issued an invitation to attendees at the Bitcoin 2024 conference to a private fundraiser that includes a near $845,000 price tag per person for a seat at the round table event. How many of you are going to be attending the round table event? It just costs 845 G's. The fundraiser will be hosted by conference organizer David Bailey, and it was reported by the Washington Post, who has repeatedly met with Trump and said Trump's speech at this event will be the most consequential political event in Bitcoin's history and is defining cultural moment for our society. So all eyes on Trump at this event, family. Bailey's conference was also at the stage for El Salvador's president, Nayib Bukele, to announce the country adopting Bitcoin as legal tender back in 2021. Shout out Bukele and the beautiful nation of El Salvador, because El Salvador is the nation of God. Now, I also just want to show Max's most recent tweets. We're just going to go through his timeline. If you're not following the high priest, I highly encourage you to do so, because it's the most entertaining Bitcoiner, hands down, no question about it. Here are some things he shared. Revealing Bukele would win against Trump, and clearly a big majority think Bukele is the superior president. This is why Trump is having a hissy fit. And he shared these poll results. Who would you rather see as president of the United States 2024? Bukele or Trump? And 55% of the people said Bukele. Who is a better president for the country? 65% of the people said Bukele. 35% of the people said Trump. That was out of 5,873 votes. Now, shout out Max. He's sticking up for Bukele, because if you haven't seen, past couple of days, Trump said some very inaccurate things about El Salvador and Bukele. And hence, Max is defending, Bukele, because yeah, it's just not accurate. And Max says he's going to set him straight at the conference. It's going to be interesting because Max is speaking on stage before Trump. So it'll be interesting to see what he says. But he also wrote here, winning the Bitcoin global hash war, El Salvador. Amen. There's no question about it. And El Salvador will forever be Bitcoin country because it was the first sovereign nation to put Bitcoin on the balance sheet and, launch it as a legal tender, which is a pretty big deal. Let's see what else we have on here. So here's the profile pitch of Elon with the laser eyes. Is he embracing the biddy? Is he going to start accepting Bitcoin as a form of payment on Tesla? What are your thoughts, family? But that's what's up. Looks like Elon is joining the party. He owns Twitter and Tesla, has access to rocket ship, a sense of humor, $200 billion, fights for freedom, and the best of all, access to great internet connection anywhere. Laser eyes, family. Let's frickin' go. Max also wrote, move to El Salvador to escape the immigration apocalypse. He wrote this back on January 30th. We're expecting 500,000 middle-class, high-net-worth individuals, Salvadorans from the U.S. to move here over the next 6 months. Our GDP is set to double over the next 5 years. Bitcoin is legal tender. El Salvador is officially safer than Canada. That's right. It's officially the safest nation in the Americas and on this side of the hemisphere of the earth. He also wrote, I'm over 5,000 recruits to my 10,000 goal that I got to move to El Salvador. You get a sense of being a part of something historic and monumental, living here and contributing what you can, supporting President's vision and reinventing decentralized nation state. Very powerful words coming from Max. You can see Max all tuxedoed up with Bukele. I imagine this was around the time of the inauguration event, which was more recently. And ironic enough, even Trump's son was at the inauguration with Bukele. Move to El Salvador. We respect the human rights. We respect the life, liberty, and property. Amen. And so, yeah, shout out Max. And let's see what else is up here. Money is a shared aesthetic. Bitcoin has the aesthetics of divine beauty. Bitcoin is perfect money sent by God to save humanity. Bitcoin is God. Bitcoin saved Trump. Powerful words right there. And God wants to move to El Salvador. El Salvador, the safest abroad. Pretty lit image there with the AI. And study Bitcoin more. You're not getting it. Max says to this person that says, you're wrong. Trump is definitely more important to Bitcoin than you. And yes, according to you simping for Bukele, people are important to the biddy. Max says, no, study Bitcoin more. You're not getting it. No one is important to Bitcoin. And that was in response to someone saying, the president is more important to Bitcoin than you are. Pull a Biden and exit the stage left. This is your take. Also, shout out Max. That interview he did with Daniela is so fire. I actually shared this earlier and Max reposted it. Daniela flabbergasted at Max Keiser's conviction in Bitcoin. And in this interview, she's ultimately saying, Max, why are you so convinced another coin just doesn't come along and blow Bitcoin out of the water? And he's like, Daniela, you truly don't get it. And he drops some gems, so respect. So yeah, Bitcoin's going to 5 million with or without the United States. Let me know if you agree or disagree. And yes, Bitcoin is up 400% since this interview he did a year ago with Daniela Cambone of Stansberry Research. But there you have it, family. I want to know your thoughts. Do you think Bitcoin will hit 5 million without or with the United States? And do you think the United States will pull a smart move and adopt Bitcoin as a strategic reserve asset or as the U.S. Treasury, as Max was predicting? Let me know your honest thoughts, and I'll read all of your comments out loud. I'll do my very best to do so.